Other 1 o'clock games, Tennessee Titans and the Detroit Lions, all sorts of, it's not even futility. It's just like, man, domination by the Lions here. 52-14. Lions move to 6-1. Titans fall to 1-6.
Yeah.
If I told you Jared Goff would finish 12 of 15 with 85 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, at one point they had, because he got sacked 4 times for -33, fumbled twice. They had, at one point, 9 net passing yards and over 30 points.
Mm-hmm.
How did it happen?
Well, Titans defense and Titans offense rather, and special teams were terrible and kept giving the Lions the ball with not very many yards to go before scoring.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if Ben Johnson's one of the best offensive minds in the game right now, best schemes, best play call, blah, blah, he's almost even better once you get into the red zone, right? It's like the Titans are just like, I'm interested to see what Ben Johnson has for the red zone today. Let's just give him all those plays. Let's see what he can dial up today. I'm really curious.
Yeah.
And just everything was just coming out. It's ridiculous.
4 out of the Lions' first 7 possessions started in Tennessee territory. Like deep enough. Like Tennessee 23, 25, 12, and the 22.
It's just, I mean, it was crazy. Like I tweeted, my notes very early on in the game. I'm like, the Titans defense is playing really well. Like they're sacking Goff early. They're getting to him. I literally in the note, this is some early in the game. I'm like, it won't matter, but the Titans defense is still playing. Like they're doing their part. Later in the game, it's like the Lions have more than 30 points in the first half, and Titans defense hasn't been playing badly. They're getting absolutely wrecked, and the defense has not been the problem. The offense and the return game is screwing them. Like the Lions had over 30 points in the first half. They'd only gotten like 130-something yards to get those 30 points. It's insane. They were just being gifted every opportunity. They had 50 up by the end of the third quarter before they just declared and shut up shop. It's just such a bizarre game.
You know how sometimes quarterbacks, pick up tendencies from each other. Like Jordan Love starts throwing like Aaron Rodgers, right? Zach Wilson starts throwing like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph seems to have picked up Mayo's stuff.
No,
Will Levis.
I think people are forgetting that Mason Rudolph was also a terrible quarterback in his own right.
But I'm just saying. He did the, let's chuck a bad interception. Bad interception early to one of the plays that helped set up the Lions.
Yeah.
Had a beautiful scramble for 11 yards, though.
Yep.
Like he's had 2 awesome scrambles the last 2 weeks. Mason Rudolph has not had that. But I think playing with Will Levis has given him a little bit more confidence on the move than he had previously.
Well, so there was one play where it was like a bootleg, right? And then he just decided he could get it himself and did a sort of did a Levis copter over a defender. Yeah. I think, but again, I feel like that's not a Levis tendency thing and more of a Rudolph's just not that great.
No,
like he wanted to pass the ball, and then he was like, no, you know what? The smartest thing I can do here is not risk the pass, take the run, it's on. And then once he already committed to that decision, realized it was actually a lot closer than he thought it was in his own brain when he was running the calculation, and he was going to have to take a Levis copter in order to make it happen. Like, what you're seeing here is not the influence of Will Levis on Mason Rudolph. You're simply seeing the limitations of Mason Rudolph's mental calculations on the fly.
Dude, the Rudolph copter was not a part of his game.
But not because of any inherent desire not to do it, just because it hadn't arisen yet as a thing.
5 different Lions found the end zone in the first half.
Yep.
And then Kalif Raymond went off even more. 90-yard punt return, had a touchdown reception just in the second half alone. Had another 64-yard return. I mean, yeah, all the special teams plays. Again, I don't watch a whole lot of special teams, but when the Lions keep picking up a 72-yard kick return, a 64-yard punt return, a 90-yard punt return for a touchdown, I mean, it was just dominance by the Lions and just awful by the Titans.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, again, the Titans defense I don't think played badly, but they were in a no-win situation the entire thing, and the Lions were dialing up all their creative stuff. I mean, David Montgomery throws a touchdown pass. Really nice throw, by the way.
Yeah.
He apparently used to play some quarterback in high school. You can tell. I mean, it wasn't just a tight spiral. Like that play, it was a good throw.
It is.
Like that was a quarterback throw.
Yeah.
And they're dialing up that kind of stuff despite already being despite already
They
dominating.
were up 2 scores at that point. It was still a game. It was,
No, I know,
made
but
it
like,
34,
but my point is,
15,
they're dialing
14.
up the creative stuff, in the red zone, in the end zone.
I think people asked, did they ask Ben Johnson directly? Like, hey, you're breaking out all these trick plays against the Cowboys a few weeks ago. It's like, well, they don't run out of them. I don't think they're going to run out of the creativity in Detroit.
Jahmyr Gibbs dominating.
70-yard touchdown from Gibbs. I mean, it was just big play after big play, all in the Lions' favor, and very little from the pass game, which was impressive.
From Tennessee's point of view, Calvin Ridley was having an absolutely monster game. Like, they trade away DeAndre Hopkins. The sort of narrative on Ridley through his entire career had been, he's a pretty good number 2, can't really cut it when he's the number 1 option, during the Julio Jones days in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You trade away Nuke Hopkins, now Ridley's the number 1 guy. He ends up with 10 catches for 143 yards, and most of that came in the first quarter. Like, he was cooking.
He did look good in this game, and I'm just going to stick with, like, wait-and-see mode here because it reminds me of Week 1 last year where he was supposed to be the one for the Jags, and he had a really dominant Week 1 for the Jags and then disappeared for 4 or 5 weeks, and it's just like every 4 or 5 weeks this would show up for Ridley. So let's see if he could build on it, but that was a great, at least from that perspective, good start for Ridley there. My question quickly, are the Titans going full fire sale now? One of the players that I was thinking, like Arden Key, is a pretty useful pass rusher for the Titans. Should he just stay in Detroit? Maybe that could be one of those, quick pickups for the Lions to help. So we haven't had to figure out what the Lions are without Aiden Hutchinson yet, right? They're just dominating these games. But at some point, they're going to have to play the best teams in the NFC and probably going to miss Aiden Hutchinson. And so are they still in the market for a pass rusher? A guy like Arden Key could be a good pickup for them.
Yeah.
But I just want to see if there is a full fire sale now in Tennessee.
I mean, I think the moment they were trading away Hopkins, that was a signal that we're out.
Hopkins, Ernest Jones last week. We might have a couple other people.
Yeah. I mean, I think people are available at that point.
Keep Arden Key in Detroit.
Keep him in. Don't let him leave the building. Yeah, so we said going into this game, this is probably going to be another week where we're not going to get a great idea of what it's like without Aiden Hutchinson, but at some point that is going to become a problem. But like Levi and Wuzurike had a really good game rushing the passer. They had players. So obviously there's not much downside for Detroit in this kind of game. They were absolutely dominant. The lack of pass rush at some point may become a problem. Not lack of pass rush. They had pass rush in this game, but we assume against better teams that will no longer be the case. But Terrion Arnold, again, was not good, the rookie corner. He got wrecked by Nick Westbrook-Akine for a touchdown, just on one-on-one release at the goal line. Couldn't live with him. I wonder if that's going to become a problem. Like, there are weaknesses for this Detroit team. It's just that everything else is so good. They're not just hiding them, but, they don't matter.
Such a hater. 52-14 Lions win, and you're finding some negatives there. It's good balance, though.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.